from Atlanta, 11Alive at 5 starts now.
10-year-old is killed in a high-speed chase. Tonight, why the pursuit continued when there were 4 kids in the car.
It started with a message on Snapchat, escalated to so much more, and now a Metro Atlanta teacher is facing charges.
And this is the launch. It could be a game changer for the space industry. How some local students are playing a role in all of this.
Our big story today at 5, a police chase ends in a fiery crash. This happened in Douglas County, but it wasn't until after the suspect's car slammed into a semi. The deputies discovered 4 children were inside that car.
Just awful. A 10-year-old child was killed. The 3 other kids, all of them tonight in critical condition. The question tonight, should deputies have called off the chase sooner? Chris Hopper is taking a closer look at newly released dashcam video tonight.
The Douglas County Sheriff's Office says that pursuing deputy had no idea there were children in the car. After the crash, he realized there was a 10-year-old in the passenger seat that had died, and there were 3 other children critically injured in the back. Saturday night, a Douglas County deputy spotted a gray Infiniti speeding on Thornton Road, 69 in a 45. That deputy tried to stop the car. The driver did for a moment in a nearby Quick Trip, but as the deputy opened his door, the car took off again. The sheriff's office says the deputy only saw the driver in the car, and because the man was driving recklessly, the deputy continued to chase the car for 3 miles in almost 3 minutes before the driver blew through a red light and smashed into a semi.
The car literally went underneath the trailer and then came out the other side. It was a very, very, very bad accident.
The pursuing and an assisting deputy rushed in to help, realizing the driver, 30-year-old Billy Frazier, and a 10-year-old passenger, Quamante Frazier, were dead. 3 other kids, ages 6, 5, and 3, were critically injured in the back seat, and police say not one was in a car seat or wearing a seatbelt.
In this particular incident, had the deputy known that there were 3 children in this car and the violations were for speeding and reckless driving, we would have very likely terminated this pursuit and not continued it.
Police say Billy Frazier was driving on a suspended license, had a stolen gun, a lot of drugs, including cocaine, crack, meth, and marijuana, and he was on probation. The surviving kids were taken to Scottish Rite. And at this point, the sheriff's office is not saying how the kids in the car are related to the driver. At 6 o'clock, we're going to be taking a hard look at Douglas County's chase policy. We have a copy of it. We've been looking at it closely. That's coming up tonight at 6 o'clock.
Wow, that's a tough story to watch. Chris, thank you. Tonight, a former Henry County teacher is facing charges of sexual battery and enticing a student through Snapchat. 24-year-old Ryan Harvey was an orchestra teacher at Woodland High School. He was arrested last month. According to the incident report that 11Alive obtained, the alleged interactions date back to October of last year. We have that full report detailing those Snapchat conversations posted on our website, 11alive.com. Just look for this story on the homepage.
Cobb County students are remembering a fallen classmate tonight. Kathleen Sutz, a senior at North Cobb Christian School, was killed in a crash on Monday. The counselors were there today as the school held an assembly to honor the student. Officials say she has been there at the school since she was in the 5th grade.
New information tonight about the man police say killed an Indianapolis Colts player in a drunk driving crash. The victim, Edwin Jackson, grew up in Metro Atlanta and went to Georgia Southern before signing with the NFL. Police say Manuel Orrego Savala was driving with a blood alcohol level nearly 3 times the legal limit when Savala hit and killed Jackson on the highway this weekend. It killed both Jackson and his Uber driver, Jeffrey Monroe. Police tell us it's not the first time that the suspect has driven drunk. He has a previous DUI conviction in California. Savala's first court appearance is scheduled for tomorrow. We also learned that he's actually in the United States illegally. Authorities say they deported him back to Guatemala twice before. That fact caught President Trump's attention today. This morning, the president sent out a series of tweets, one of which saying, "So disgraceful that a person illegally in our country killed Colts linebacker Edwin Jackson. This is one of many such preventable tragedies. We must get the Democrats to get tough on the border and with illegal immigration fast." The president says the country needs to move towards a merit-based immigration system. We're told Jackson's funeral will be held next Monday at the Big Bethel AME Church in Atlanta.
Take a break from our news coverage tonight to focus on the weather. It was a bit gloomy this morning, but gorgeous this afternoon.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's go over to Chris Holcomb tracking that forecast. Chris.
Yeah, we're watching a couple of things here on radar. I want you to look at two things. Number one, the rain. That's going to be moving into North Georgia shortly. We've had a few little showers there. But number two, I want you to see the clouds. We did have those clouds over us a little bit earlier, but as those shifted to the north, we saw more sunshine, and our temperatures were able to rebound into the upper 60s today, feeling really warm. But now let's go back to that rain, because that's what's going to be impacting us next. You can see some of these showers that are moving through parts of northwest Georgia that have moved right now through parts of Fannin County. The next round is about to push into Dade, Walker County, also into Chattooga County. We have more of this over to the west into Alabama, and with that, we're even seeing a little bit of lightning with some of this. Now, we're not overly concerned about a big-time threat for thunderstorms or severe weather here. We may have a little bit of thunder and lightning in the morning as the system moves our way. As we widen out a little bit more, we'll take the clouds off. Remember yesterday, we were showing you the system that was just beginning to develop there in the Gulf of Mexico, and we mentioned that a lot more moisture would start feeding in. That's what we're seeing right now, and this is going to be moving our way tonight and also early tomorrow, tapering off later in the day. Let's take a look out there right now. You can see what we're watching. This is our live tower cam up in Gwinnett County, and as we're looking toward the west to sunset, not seeing a lot of clouds around out there at all, and that's why that temperature was able to rebound into the upper 60s. In fact, right now 69 degrees, close to 70 here in Atlanta. We do have more 70s on the south side, 60s and even 50s on the north side. Stay with us. We'll have more on the timing of this rain and whether or not we'll have any thunder and lightning coming up.
Thank you, Chris. It is one of our state's most recognizable bridges, and it is named after a segregationist. Today, hundreds of Girl Scouts crowded the halls of our state capitol, hoping to change that history. Should the bridge in Savannah, the Talmadge Bridge in Savannah, be renamed after Juliette Gordon, the founder of the American Girl Scouts? There's a poll right there. The results so far, 54% of you are saying no, don't change it. We'll keep the poll going for the next little while, less than 3 minutes at least, to give you the information you have so you can now make your decision. Go to 11alive.com/vote in order to weigh in. And also, Doug Richards has been tracking the efforts for change under the Gold Dome.
The Talmadge Bridge crosses nearly 2 miles from Savannah to South Carolina, and its name honors a man critics describe as a fierce segregationist.
Well, we had lots of fun out of the campaign.
Historians say former Governor Eugene Talmadge laced his campaign speeches with the N-word. Talmadge funded the original bridge that crossed the Savannah River, a bridge replaced in the 1990s with this eye-catching cable-stayed bridge. The newer bridge deserves a new name, says State Representative Ron Stevens of Savannah.
The Talmadge family, a very honorable family, the last thing we want to do is to disparage that name. But this is a new bridge. It was never named.
What is your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
At the Capitol, hundreds of Girl Scouts from around Georgia packed the hallways to lobby to rename the bridge in honor of Juliette Gordon Lowe, the Savannah woman who founded the Girl Scouts.
Juliette Gordon Lowe was all about building bridges.
Miss Juliette was really like an innovator of her time. A lot of people didn't think that women could do much of anything, but she tried to change the public's opinion in teaching girls that they can do whatever they want to do.
She had a backbone, and it's gone a long way.
Stevens says there is no record of the state actually naming that newer bridge after Eugene Talmadge. Stevens says he has 50 co-sponsors for his bill to rename it after Juliette Gordon Lowe. At the Capitol, Doug Richards, 11Alive News.
Doug, thank you. Let's check back in with the poll now. It's a live poll. Should the Talmadge Bridge be renamed, the one in Savannah? 60% of you say yes, to 40 now, 1% of you say no. You can keep voting. It's in real time. Find full coverage of the story, including an active debate about the idea. Just click on the story on the front page of our website, 11alive.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition.
And we have liftoff, and it was awesome. Today, SpaceX launched their rocket called Falcon Heavy into orbit. The launch went perfectly, according to plan. This rocket is the largest one to take off from Cape Canaveral since the Apollo missions to the moon back in the 60s and 70s. The Falcon Heavy is 229 feet tall. It has 3 rockets, 27 engines, and 5 million pounds of thrust. Inside that rocket is SpaceX founder Elon Musk's personal red Tesla, of course, with a mannequin behind the wheel. And it's also playing David Bowie's Space Oddity in the background. If everything goes according to plan, the car will be sent on a trip around the sun and then towards Mars. Now, early this morning, Musk wasn't so sure that the Falcon Heavy wouldn't explode on launch.
I hope it goes right. I give it maybe, I don't know, a half to 2/3 chance of working.
That's it?
Yeah. Actually, I feel like 2/3, but I think realistically half.
Okay, well, it worked. That's good to know. The other cool part about this launch, SpaceX is hoping to reuse all of these parts. So instead of falling into the ocean or drifting in the space forever, the rockets are all programmed to land just a couple of miles from where they launch. You can see the 2 side rockets landed right on their target with no problems at all. So why is SpaceX doing all of this? Well, they hope to eventually send people into space to create a colony on the moon or on Mars. And that, of course, has a whole lot of Georgia Tech students excited. So we're going to continue our coverage with 11Alive's Caitlin Ross, who is live at Georgia Tech, where all of the researchers were watching all this very closely. Caitlin?
Very closely, Ryan. This was so exciting. You could almost hear people sucking in their breath and waiting right before this launch. That's because they have a lot riding on this. It's not this rocket that went up, but the next one, they're actually going to have a satellite on it that they designed here right on the Georgia Tech campus. Students have been working on this for years, and so watching the launch today was really their first step towards what's going to be an incredible experience. They were taking notes, taking video. They were watching this really closely, using really technical terms that went way over my head, but it was really an experience for them that they say they're never going to forget. And this opened up so many doors for students here who not only have the opportunity now to work for a public sector that might look at space, but also a private sector. And that does come with some quirkiness. Like you said, Elon Musk set up his Tesla. He's going to be playing Space Oddity on repeat the entire time. But the students and professors here say it just makes it all that much more exciting.
That's fun. I mean, it sort of shows his character. Right? He's got this, kind of unique perspective. It sort of also shows a little bit of his maybe ambitious nature, that he's willing to, take this all in his stride. And he knows if this thing goes wrong, it's not game over. He'll just pick up the pieces, start it over again. And that's sort of the attitude that SpaceX carries along, and has been a little bit contagious.
And he talks about that contagious attitude and also the ambition. It really fed into what the students were feeling here. It feeds into this next project. And believe it or not, their satellite could be up in orbit within 6 months. So this is really exciting day here on Georgia Tech, and certainly a lot to look forward to moving forward. Reporting at Georgia Tech, Caitlin Ross, 11Alive News.